there is a brand new and full plot leak for the coming Morbius film. Now, of course, we got to break this down, but if you're trying to avoid spoilers, stick with us for just a second because we're going to go spoiler light for at least a little bit of this video. What's up, everybody? It's Josh. Welcome back to the channel. Do me a favor, smash that like button. You guys have been doing great on that, by the way. Thank you very much. Thank you. But yeah, smash that like button and let's get right into this. Now, before we get too spoiler here, I want to take a moment and talk to you guys about how we're going to adjust our leaking and spoilery coverage in 2020. After what happened with The Rise of Skywalker, in which, despite warnings out there from a lot of people, including myself, trying to explain that this was going to be a plot leak and possibly spoil the film, people didn't believe it, and then it turned out to be 100% correct. So I think we're all starting to come around to the idea that spoilers are real, leaks are real, and they're just going to keep happening. It's a part of pop culture at this point. However, in an effort to make content that can work for people that don't want to go heavy into spoilers, what we've decided here at the channel is we're going to start all of our spoiler coverage with doing a light spoiler portion and then a heavy spoiler portion. So for the next several minutes of this video, I'm going to be sort of ambiguous and talk about some light spoilers for the film, and then later on in the video, we will get into very heavy spoilers, and I will warn you before we go to the heavy spoiler portion. Okay, enough of all that. Let's talk some light spoilers for the Morbius film. One of the most interesting aspects of the plot leak here is about the Spider-Man stuff that will be in the film. Now, at this point, it's no surprise to many people. We believe Spider-Man will be at least referenced in this film. There was a shot of Spider-Man in some graffiti that said murderer on it in the trailer, and there have been some leaked set photos showcasing a Daily Bugle advertisement that will be on a bus talking about where Spider-Man is at. This is referencing Spider-Man being on the run post Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, according to this plot leak, Spider-Man himself will not actually be in the movie. But this part of Spider-Man's story that's being told sort of in the background of the Morbius film is not only going to be told a lot, but they are actually changing the images to represent the Tom Holland Spider-Man. So in the trailer, we see something that looks like either the Sam Raimi Spider-Man suit or the Spider-Man suit from Sony's PS4 game. However, according to this leak, they're changing that, and it's going to be the Tom Holland suit from Spider-Man Homecoming that is in all of the graffiti. Now, we speculated about this on the live stream earlier today, where we were just talking about this with everybody in the chat. It does appear that a lot of the moves Sony was making were made prior to this arrangement, whatever this new arrangement is that they have with Marvel Studios. Basically, in order to avoid legal trouble during production, they likely shot things that involved Spider-Man stuff that they specifically owned. They did not put any Tom Holland Spider-Man stuff into this film until they figured it out later in the post-production process. But this hints that they are building towards Tom Holland coming over to the Venomverse, which a lot of us knew was going to happen, but there were a lot of people holding out hope for Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man to be the Spider-Man of the Sony Marvel Universe, or even maybe a new Spider-Man. But no, it does appear, according to these leaks, that the plan is to bring the Tom Holland Spider-Man over to the Sony Marvel Universe. Commence the bickering on whether or not this is a good idea in the comment section below. Now, next up in the light spoilers category, I want to tell you guys that there's legitimate magic in this movie, and I will expand on this in the heavy spoiler portion, but for those of you that just want to know the basic ambiguous stuff, magic is going to play a role in this film. Traditionally, the Morbius character is a scientist, and the vampirism that is attached to him has more to do with science than it does mysticism. But it does appear in this plot leak that it's going to have a magical aspect, and there's actually going to be a lot of magical stuff that happens in the film. This is really interesting and really bold by Sony, frankly. I mean, the MCU took their time getting to magic. Even Thor really explains the magic in that film as technology, as advanced technology that we just don't know about. It wasn't until Doctor Strange that they really started to experience magic fully in the MCU, and we really got the lore of magic in the MCU created. But it appears Sony's going straight for that magical stuff, and I'm telling you, like, magical stuff. That's as far as I'll go in the light spoiler section. Now, lastly, in the light spoiler section, I just want to talk about how in the leak, this scene that we see in the trailers with Toomes and Morbius is not at the very end of the film. I know that was a lot of people's thoughts. They were like, okay, this is probably the end of the film or maybe a post-credit scene, and that is not true. According to the plot leak, this scene will take place kind of in the middle of the movie, and it involves more characters than just Toomes and Morbius. Now, that's kind of all I can say for the light spoiler section, but the idea I want to convey to you guys is that this is sort of a bigger deal than just an end cap thing for what Sony is trying to do here. There will be some really interesting characters here, and I think you will see in this scene more behind the curtain of what Sony is actually trying to set up, and to me, it all seems really cool. But that will conclude the light spoiler section of this video. If you don't want to get heavily spoiled anything, get out of here for now. And also let us know in the comment section, like, are you cool with this kind of a model? I'm interested to see what people think of the changes to the spoilery and leak coverage that we do in 2020. Okay, get out of here. We're going to get heavy spoilers. Okay, so let's get into the heavy spoilers. Let's talk about this magic stuff because it's absolutely ridiculous. Matt Smith's character is apparently going to be this guy, Loxias Crown. Now, Loxias Crown, or Loxias Crown, however you pronounce that, in the comic books is a vampire character that is connected to Morbius. He actually gets the name Hunger, but what's interesting is in the comic books, Morbius predates the character of Hunger, and Hunger is aided by Morbius, and they have sort of a relationship set up like that. However, in this movie, according to the plot leak, Hunger, or Matt Smith's character, is going to predate Morbius. In fact, he is actually the first Morbius. And really, it's going to be sort of revealed in the film, according to the leak, again, that this character is sort of playing Morbius for the fool. He's trying to get Michael to do the things that he is doing in order to have him sort of live forever. There's a very Palpatine-esque thing going on here, at least Palpatine from episode 9, going on with the Matt Smith character, which I find incredibly ironic because we thought Matt Smith was going to play a young resurrected Palpatine, and he's sort of a resurrected version of this vampire in the film. There is this absolutely bonkers scene described in the plot leak where a skeleton that actually is wearing a comic accurate Morbius the Living Vampire suit is brought to life and animated by the Matt Smith character, and then that skeleton and Morbius have an epic fight. And you come to find out that that skeleton is actually the original Matt Smith, and that he's sort of, again, done that weird Palpatine episode 9 thing where he's now resurrected in a different body. There are moments where he actually possesses Michael in the movie. There's a moment described in the movie where this character is decrepit and he stops a train and absorbs all of their life force in order to bring himself back to a youthful state. Again, very Palpatine in episode 9. Kind of interesting. Even the Morbius suit itself seems to have some kind of magical properties because it actually forms around Michael after he defeats that skeleton version of the Hunger character. The big fight at the end of the film will involve the Matt Smith character and Morbius, and it's described as a lot of flying and crazy fighting, something like the end of Chronicle or the end of The Matrix 3 with him fighting Agent Smith and just flying around like really crazy and ridiculous. Now let's talk heavy spoilers on the prison scene. This is really interesting because what ends up happening here is Morbius allows himself to be captured and put in prison, and his cellmate is none other than Adrian Toomes. Now, Morbius actually ends up causing the breakout. He breaks out of prison and allows several other villains, including Toomes, to escape the prison as well. Among those other villains is the Matt Gargan Scorpion character from Spider-Man Homecoming, but also the Cletus Cassidy character that we see in the Venom 1 post-credit scene. And in this scene, Toomes is obviously talking about his team that he's putting together. This will be the Sinister Six, and he invites Dr. Michael Morbius to join them. And at that point, Morbius declines. But I think that's pretty freaking crazy. That happens like sort of in the middle of the film, and hopefully there's a good portion of scenes with Michael Keaton and with Jared Leto, because they're both terrific actors. I want to see some scenes with those two chewing up the scenery together, and I'm pumped that it's not just some end cap thing. It's a big deal, and it's a huge Easter egg to what Sony wants to do with the future of these films. Also, there's going to sort of be this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, or like Hulk kind of thing going on with the Morbius character. I'm sure you could have predicted that, but maybe what you didn't predict is that at the end of this movie, Morbius is literally going to grow to like over 9 feet tall and be like kind of a horrific monster version of Morbius until he's eventually talked down and then, you know, does the sort of sun's getting real low kind of thing that Nat does to the Hulk. Now, that's not every point-by-point thing that is in the plot leak, and you're welcome to go check it out on Reddit and read the whole thing in detail for yourself, but that's the heavy spoiler stuff of some of the most significant beats from the film, and I gotta be honest with you guys, I love what I am hearing. I really hope that this stuff is true, which I do believe it's like 90% true, and I am so pumped to see this film on the silver screen, man. This seems like the Morbius film that I am looking for. And now let's shout out James Yu. Yes, indeed, the Skrulls said he loves you in this really weird way during Secret Invasion in the comic books before they killed people. He loves you. Super weird. So shout out to you, James. And now let's ask another nerd card question before we get out of here. I want to know, what was the first appearance in Marvel Comics of the Morbius character? What comic book and issue number did Morbius first appear in Marvel Comics? Answer that question in the comment section below. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.